Hey everybody, how is it going? Happy Tuesday. Hello, hello. Oh my goodness, it is so good to see you guys on this holiday week. How is everybody feeling, especially our Novel 90 writing folks? Got people on from all over the place. Hello there. It's good to see you guys. Welcome, welcome one and all. All right. So today we are talking about refilling our creative well. And what that means, if you're not familiar with that term, is basically refueling our inspiration. Where are we getting our story ideas from? We call them our muse, our motivation, our inspiration. But when you write a long time, it's normal to hit a point where you just start to wonder how you keep coming up with new things, how you keep pushing forward, maybe how you get to the end of a first book because life has caught up with you and you're tired and your characters are tired. Isn't it ironic that when we hit the point in our books where our characters start to really get exhausted around the midpoint or end, that we start to feel that too? Well, we're channeling this for our characters, right? And for our readers. But we have to keep going or there won't be an ending. So we need to talk about how we refill this creative well that we are drawing these ideas from in order to become the writers we want to be, especially if we want this to be our job. We have people from all over. Hello, everybody. Okay, so I have some tips today that I have gathered from people in the community, from fellow coaches, as well as used myself. But I would love to hear your thoughts and your tips, what you do to recenter on your why, to get back to your writing roots, if you will, so that you can continue on in this process. But the first one is really to be purposeful with your breaks. Taking time to step away from your work on a regular basis and let yourself do other things can help preserve that creative energy. If you, are constantly pouring out yourself, you have nothing left that's stored up to pour out anymore. At some point, you will run dry. You can't leave a battery on in the car and walk away, turn the keys off, and leave the lights on without expecting the battery to go dead, right? It's lighting up for all it's worth, but at some point, it is going to burn itself out. That rest is important for your self care, for your mental health, and for your story's creativity. Now, this doesn't mean I'm super tired, I'm burned out, and I'm going to walk away from my book for 2 months and come back writing later because, my friends, it's just really hard to get back in the writing saddle if you take too long away. So we don't want to use a break as an excuse to quit. And we have to be honest with ourselves about where we are before we step away. If you are guilty stepping away, ask yourself why. Is it because you don't feel like you deserve a break? Is it fear motivated? Like, oh, if I walk away, I won't pick this back up and I won't get done? Or is it relieved because you don't want to be working on it? Whichever of those three categories you find yourself in, you have to lean in and really listen to yourself and be honest with yourself about how you will come back. I am going to take a break, and a purposeful break means you know how long it will last. You have an idea of what you will do, and you use that time with intention. So I am going to take a 2-day break over the holiday to be with family, to be present, to not be worrying about my books, and then come back and write again over the weekend. And any ideas I get, I am allowed to put in a note in my AutoCrit account, or on a sticky pad if you're a sticky pad person, or on your cell phone as a message to yourself. But you are not allowed to open the book, file, and write. Not permitted if that is your goal, right? If, however, you are viewing the holiday as a time to catch up, then that's great. Go catch up and write, and then take a break after the holiday. Say, I'm going to use my time off work to get this specific task done for my books. And once it's done, I will let myself have a day where I'm not writing. an evening where I'm not writing. And during that time, what are you going to be doing in place of writing? And if you're in the crowd that's burning out, make sure you have an end. Do not leave your breaks open-ended. So I am going to step away for 2 days. I have to sit down and write again in 2 days. Doing this will help you be accountable. And if you know you're going to struggle coming back, find some accountability partners like the Novel 90 Writing Challenge participants on your team. If you're doing Novel 90, go put in the weekly check-ins for your team that, hey, I'm taking a break. I need to be back on this day. Somebody ping me if you don't see me, so that they can call you out and get you back in the seat, get you back behind the laptop or with the pen, and get that book going for you. So taking a break refills your mental energy, your creative energy, and hopefully your emotional energy. Giving yourself time to sleep and, eat, take a shower, and take your cat out on a bike ride, a little cat bubble backpack, whatever you need to do to disconnect from your work. Now, another tip that we have for refilling your creative well is actually going to be connecting with a source of your inspiration. The break disconnects you from inspiration mentality altogether. You're not worried about it. You're just focusing on refueling your mental, emotional, and physical energy. But when you're back at it and you need to continue to refill this creative well, we need a source to refill that from. And for many of us as authors, that comes in the form of reading. If we read other books that inspire us, that remind us why we like to write, that maybe made us start wanting to write to begin with, that pours into our own creative well. Now, if you're new to writing, I've heard people say new writers struggle to define their voice versus somebody else's voice. And they're scared to read during the writing process because they're worried that their work, when they come back to write again, won't sound like them, that it'll sound like whatever book they were currently reading. That's a valid complaint and a valid fear. So have some warm-up writing sprints for yourself to be that buffer. If you are running low on inspiration and your story isn't speaking to you, you need to refill the creative well, and maybe you have a comfort book of choice. Give yourself a day or two to reread your comfort book of choice. You do that instead of writing. Once you're done, have these exercises. You can keep them in a cup next to your desk. Just fold them up and pull one out at random. A food fight, a wedding for one of the side characters, something awkward at a family social event, and start writing and get back in the head of your own book. And then if there is some crossover between what you were reading and what you're getting back into, it gets out in that side bit that will never be part of the book itself. It gives you permission to reacclimate to your voice, if you will. So please do not be afraid to read as you go. We become better at our craft by writing, but also by continuing to read. It would be a very lonely life to just write. Now, some people also like using TV shows. They go binge watch a series on Netflix like Kat does. They watch movies. Maybe they play on a video game to get inspiration from other artistic outlets that aren't just reading or bookish. And that's fine too. But we need to go find something that inspires us to create stories. Spend some time with it. Embrace it. Enjoy the fact that, hey, we were inspired to do what we do because these other things make a difference in our lives. And that is what you are going to use to start refilling this creative well, to add back to your own energy as you put out new books. So we have taking a break. This is going to help us refuel. Then we have our getting back to the creative well with things that inspire us, books, movies, etc. But then there's a third big tip. And this is getting back to our why. Earlier in Novel 90, I did a pep talk about finding your why, and why having that why as the front and center focus when you're doing a project like writing a book and editing a book is so important to you actually seeing this through to the end. The why gets lost in the doing sometimes. We forget how excited we were when we first came up with this idea. We forget how much this character made us laugh, how much we loathe that character over there, because we have lost sight of the why and have gotten stuck in the drudgery of just seeing the words end up on the page. So take a minute to reconnect with your why. When you go, why am I even doing this? Go pull it out. We asked our Novel 90 participants to write their why in Basecamp. It's still there. Go back and reread it. What were you feeling when you wrote it? What were you dreaming of? What were you thinking of? If you did not do that, or you're not part of Novel 90 yet, then you have time to come up with your own why. I am doing this because XYZ. And what I want you to do is take that why and expand on it. Make a little time to sit down with yourself and go, this was my why. And then start a new why. This is still my why because I want XYZ. I still want to do this because when I'm not writing, I'm miserable. Because when I'm not writing, a part of me is missing. When I think about abandoning this book, I'm more sad than I can say. Find a new why. Restart those flames. Right. So take a break. Go back to your inspiration sources. Renew your why. And lastly, pull out your writer's toolkit. On Team Pantser, I asked everybody to come up with this writer's toolkit early on. And that writer's toolkit consisted of playlists with songs that made us think of different things in our books. It had mood boards. It had temporary cover designs. It had character introductions. Those things remind us of where we envisioned this story going in the long haul. And it will help recenter you on the tone and feel you originally intended for the book. And it's why it's so important to make one before you start writing. Now, if you don't have one and you're like, oh, I wish I had, go ahead and stop and give yourself a minute to put together a playlist. Browse through Pinterest. Go on Canva and make yourself some little mood boards. Do something to make sure that you have a reference when that inspiration is gone. And we're refilling our creative well by re-exploring that. Take those things and add to them. If your initial starting this project playlist included certain songs, are there any new songs that should be going in now that you have started writing it? These are what I call productive distractions. No, they're not writing. But if they can help refill that creative well that you have, they will keep you writing down the road. So when things really start to feel bad and the words just won't flow, it is more productive to do something like this than it is to quit writing and push the chair into the desk and walk away. All right. So those are my 4 tips for you guys going into the editing phase if you're in the Novel 90 Writing Challenge. If you are on Team Pantser or Team Planner or Team Pantser and you're still writing, we want to get these books done. We want to see you through to the end. But we know that at some point, you can't just keep pushing and putting your foot on the brake with no gas in the tank and expecting quality words to come out. So give yourself some grace. You're not alone. Us coaches feel run down and burned out sometimes too. And we have to refill our creative wells, doing a lot of these exact same things. We want to see you through to the end. You are not alone. If you want to come share that you're struggling or that you got out of a hole and now you're going back up, or share some encouragement with your team, please do so in Basecamp. We love that our community is open and honest, and that it's raw and real and not just, oh, things are going great all the time, right? But we also love seeing victories because those can pull us up when we're feeling really down. Now, if you're new here and you don't know what AutoCrit's Novel 90 Writing Challenge is, I'm going to drop the link for you in the little banner down there. We have a free challenge designed to help you write, edit, plan a novel in 90 days. We are in the middle of our writing month. We are wrapping it up and getting ready to go into editing month. But a spring one is starting in February, and you can pre-register now. You can commit to getting your story done in the new year with guidance, with people who won't shame you or blame you when that creative energy runs out, who will be here to remind you how to get that energy back, how to write some more. Community is the biggest support in this community, especially if you're going to self-publish. A rising tide lifts all of our boats. If we can all help each other get through the bad days, then we will all have good days. So we would love to have you come join us. And we've got some great tips here in the chat. So you like refilling your well by doing collaborative writing. Collaborative writing can be a great exercise. Let's see here. I think I saw another one. BR's here writing their first project. Congratulations. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing, you guys. You have family coming in. I hope things go well for the holidays. And do not pressure yourself beyond what you actually need to over the holiday. You know, if the holiday is a good time to write, or writing gives you a little bit of respite to step away from the family drama, then come write. We at AutoCrit here have a whole bunch of free writing sprints that are on the calendar throughout the entire holiday. We're calling it Sprints Giving. And you can RSVP for those. You do not have to be a pro member paying AutoCrit anything. You could just come show up. The AutoCrit calendar is available here. So we have these events, we have other events and more. But if you need to disconnect and read a good book, watch a good movie, then we get that. Do that and come back and see me on Sunday, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and getting back into the writing side again so that we can get these books done going into 2026. Thank you so much for letting me chat with you, everybody. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great holiday. Bye, y'all.